For centuries, the value of a Thai amulet was really a matter of faith and an expert's opinion. But what happens when you put that faith under a microscope? Well, today, we're stepping into the lab and exploring the science of authenticity and how technology is revealing secrets hidden inside these incredible objects, secrets the naked eye could never, ever see. So, you've got this cherished amulet. How can you be absolutely certain it's the real deal? This is the number one question, especially for new collectors. And for a long, long time, the answer has been pretty murky, clouded by personal opinions, conflicting stories, and a whole lot of doubt. But what if? What if there was a way to get a definitive, evidence-based answer? All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with a collector's dilemma, then build the scientific foundation. We'll pop inside the lab, uncover the telltale signs of time, and finally reach the evidentiary conclusion. Let's get into it. Okay, so the heart of the problem has always been the authentication method itself. Traditionally, it's relied heavily on someone's personal experience. What they remember, what their group agrees on, which can be inconsistent and, let's be honest, sometimes it can even be manipulated. This is where science just completely changes the game. It moves the whole conversation away from subjective feelings, that it just feels right to me kind of gut instinct, to objective, provable facts. Facts that can be tested over and over again. We're building a system based on hard evidence, not just belief. So, how does this whole scientific process actually get started? Well, before you can even think about testing a single amulet, you have to build a rock-solid foundation of data. I mean, think about it. You can't know if something is real if you don't have a perfect standard to compare it against, right? And that happens in two critical steps. First, researchers just dive deep into history. They're looking for exact creation formulas, historical records, old photos, anything to understand how these were made back in the day. Then, and this is the cool part, they take known, 100% authentic amulets and analyze them to create a scientific fingerprint. This reference database becomes the gold standard for every single comparison from that point on. All right, let's open the doors to the lab and check out the high-tech instruments that let scientists see what we can't. This is where the real detective work begins. You should think of this as a multi-layered investigation. We start with a microscope to check out the surface, the texture, all the tiny details. Then a density test tells us about its weight and what it's made of. And finally, something like an XRF scanner reveals its precise chemical makeup. Each tool gives us another piece of the puzzle, building a complete profile of the amulet, from its surface right down to its atoms. Now, one of the most powerful tools is XRF. I know, it sounds super complicated, but here's the simple version. It's basically a material scanner. It shoots X-rays at the amulet, and by reading the energy that bounces back, it tells us exactly what elements are inside, like lead, copper, tin, you name it. And the best part? It does all this without leaving a single mark on the amulet. And this is where the data really becomes the verdict. So let's say historical records show that a specific temple in the 19th century used a very unique alloy with a ton of lead in it. If the XRF scan of an amulet claiming to be from there shows a totally different recipe, maybe it has modern metals like zinc in it, well, the data just gave us a clear answer. It doesn't match that historical fingerprint. But look, an amulet's composition, that's only half the story. The most crucial part of the analysis, the real smoking gun, focuses on the one thing that even the most brilliant forgers just can't fake perfectly, the slow, steady march of time itself. We're talking about that slow, authentic transformation that happens over decades or centuries. Like the deep green patina on an old bronze statue. That isn't just painted on, it's a part of the metal itself. It's a chemical reaction with the air that grows from the inside out, creating a layer that's deeply integrated into the material. And it's not just chemical, it's physical too. Over a very, very long time, the materials literally settle. As tiny bits of moisture evaporate over decades, the mass contracts, creating these microscopic web-like cracks and unique surface patterns. It's a signature of genuine aging that you just can't rush. Yeah, when you see them side by side under a microscope, the difference is just staggering. Natural aging is this slow internal process. A forgery is a fast external job. A real patina is part of the metal. A fake one is basically a chemical paint job slapped on top. Natural cracks are fine and organic. Forced cracks look sharp and just wrong.
Okay, so all the tests are done. We've analyzed the material, we've examined it under the microscope, we've checked for signs of aging. So how does all this complex data turn into a clear, trustworthy guarantee that a collector can actually hold in their hand?
Well, every single piece of data is meticulously recorded and archived. The XRF graphs, the microscope photos, all the measurements, it all goes into a permanent file for that one amulet. This creates a solid chain of evidence, ensuring complete transparency and proving that the results can be checked and repeated by any other lab anywhere in the world. So here's the most crucial point. The certificate you get is not an opinion. It's a scientific conclusion. It says, based on all this verifiable data, that the amulet's materials and its signs of aging are consistent with its claimed history. It proves the amulet was, quote, created in the correct era. And ultimately, that's the real goal here, to shift the entire ecosystem. It's all about moving beyond hazy memories and what a group of people think, and moving towards a system of concrete, repeatable evidence. This creates a trustworthy international standard that protects collectors, preserves history, and makes sure value is based on proof, not just on stories. So that leaves us with a really fascinating question. When science provides this kind of definitive proof, how does that change our connection to faith and to history? For many people, science doesn't take away from the spiritual value at all. In fact, by removing all the doubt, it provides this unshakable foundation, allowing belief and history to stand together on a bedrock of verifiable truth.